The years went on, there was more and more, more and more. By the time we got to 2009, things were so bad, there must be something driving this. There must be something driving. So it was around that time that somebody who was a former gay activist, was actually known, has been in the media, left that uh, practice and revealed how they were actively recruiting children, our children, into this vice. So that's when the thing first surfaced, and it's what helped bring about the first anti-homosexuality bill came out of that. So this is a topic that I've actually dealt with a lot, and since the Lord had called me to do something about family and morality, I knew that this is something I have to confront one to another. I have no luck to do nothing about it because it is falling the docket of where God is called. So that's why I take a keen interest in this matter and got knowledge, because the Bible says that zeal without knowledge is very dangerous. Very dangerous, yeah. And this is a matter you can't tackle without knowledge. You need knowledge. Even the Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Knowledge is very, very key. And what I'm going to do today is essentially to give you knowledge. So that as parents, you then know what to do with that knowledge. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this morning. Thank you for these precious parents who are keen to parent their children in this perverse generation. Lord, we pray, give us your insight, give us your wisdom, give us your understanding, give us your perspective on this matter. We know there are many perspectives out there, but Lord, give us yours. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Now, my engineering is very, very helpful in what I'm doing now. Because in engineering, there's no gambling. There's no gambling, and there's no politics. You need to know the principle of something. And once you have understood that principle and you follow it, it will work. Aerodynamic engineers have understood aerodynamics, and they can make a plane 400 tons and it will fly over the Atlantic. It won't drop because they followed the principle. Similarly, in life and in what we're going to be talking about here, once you understand the principle, you're good. You're good. So I want you to appreciate where we are now, globally. Because you need to know the big picture in order to come and deal with the specifics down here. If you don't understand the big picture, you're going to find it very hard, or you will make mistakes down here. Now, those of us who are a bit older, we knew the global conflict when we were youth was the Cold War. And the Cold War was a global conflict where the world was split into two, the West and the East. And the nature of the global conflict was an arms race. Who has a bigger gun? Who can blast a bigger nuclear weapon? That was the issue. But after the collapse of the Soviet Union in the early 90s, the global conflict changed from an arms race to now an ideological race or an ideological war. So now, it's no longer who has a bigger army. The size of your army and the size of your is not a big issue. It's now who is controlling the mind. The late British Prime Minister during the Second World War, Sir Winston Churchill, said that empires of the future will not be empires of territory, but empires of the mind. empires of the mind. Remember, he was the last prime minister to lead an empire, the British Empire. So he knew a thing or two about empires. During his days, it was more military, conquer, these territories. But he realized in the future it won't be this. So in other words, somebody can hold territory, but somebody else is only determining what they think, what they should teach their children, where they should go to sleep, what diet they should have. So essentially, that person is the one really now holding this territory, although somebody else is holding physically. That's where we are now. That's where we are now. Now, suppose you're a strategist for one of the ideological entities. What would you do? Common sense will tell you, go for the children. Go for the children. Because you want to be the one on top in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. You want your ideology to be the one on top. Common sense will go for the children. Because once you get the children, literally you just, as the expression goes, you laugh all the way to the bank. Because those children are going to grow up. Soon they begin to demand your ideology, and soon with a huge army comes from down there. Unstoppable. Unstoppable. That's why everybody is going for children. And that should interest you because you are parents. So you need to know that there is a race for your child. Imagine at a time when parents are so busy and so on, there are people who are on your marks, get set. And I've got a list of about 14 or 15 entities are racing for your child. At a time when parents are so busy. You imagine that scenario. It's a terrible scenario, but that's what's happening. Now, in light of what I've just said, therefore, you need to understand that it is not money that runs the world. It is not guns that run the world. It's ideas. Guns follow ideas. Money follows ideas. So, in the parenting, therefore, in this perverse world, you need to know that ideas are the currency, are the thing, are the game changer. Ideas. Whose ideas are children being taught? Whose ideas is in the media? Whose ideas is informing governance? Whose idea is informing education? Whose idea is informing family and how families are run? That is where you need to pay attention. So, in light of that, I want to talk now specifically about homosexuality. What is this thing? What is this thing? Because this is the major perversion that we're dealing with today. 15 years ago, we never used to worry about this. Thank God I've been around long enough to see what we're talking about then, what we're talking about now. 20 years ago, but now, now, there are psychologists, whatever, people are bringing this from all kinds of angles and so on. I don't have time to go through all that. I want to go to the bottom line. Bottom line. You all know bottom line. You've done assets, what expenses. Yeah, but what is yes? What? Yeah, yes. What after all this said? Yeah, what is it? The bottom line is this: homosexuality. First of all, man is a fallen creature. Man is a fallen creature. Because man is a fallen creature, man struggles with all kinds of evil desires and tendencies. Murder, deceit, adultery, lying, name it. We struggle with this. And we struggle in different degrees. And, uh, there are people who don't struggle with any of these, but theirs is in another area, and so on. So, homosexuality is simply a sin, just like murder, just like adultery, which fallen human beings face. And we all know that because we are fallen, or man is fallen, there are evil desires or temptations which we must suppress. Yeah? That's part of human nature. We all struggle with adultery. We all struggle with this cheating. We all struggle with, whatever. But that is wrong. So, I won't go there. You suppress it. If somebody's car, it's not mine. So I'll suppress that. Somebody's wife, this is not mine. I'll suppress that. Somebody's job, so I'll suppress that. So similarly, when you get homosexuality, or you have feelings or temptation, you know that it's a no-go area. I won't go there. At the end of the day, that's what it is. What has happened now is that homosexuality seems to be like a human right, or something different, or something so special. And even Christians are drawn into that. Oh yeah, some people are born lame, others are born blind. Yeah, so some are born like rubbish. That is a lie. And by the way, the whole gay machinery and the whole gay ideology is based on lies. Yes. Lies. Purely lies. There's nothing concrete. There's no truth on that whole ideology. And for your information, one of their activists, a gentleman by the name, two gentlemen actually, Marshall Kirk and Asifiwe, in 1987, they wrote an article in a gay magazine, and the title of the article was "The Overhauling of Straight America." How are they going to change America? What they've actually done now? They said they will use three things. They'll use manipulation, they'll use deception, and they'll use coercion. Now, coercion is forcing somebody to believe what they know is wrong. So those are the three tactics. So for them, truth is not something that they need. They don't need, they don't want. They will deceive you. And one of the deceptions is that, oh, I'm born this way. I'm born this way. Yes. And I've talked to gay activists who have been trained. They say, we are told, always just say, I was born. Never accept. Just say, I was born like this. I was born like this. No matter what, you just stick to that. I was born, which is wrong. Wrong, it's rubbish. There's no gay gene. It doesn't exist. If there was a gay gene, then it means that once you become a homosexual, you can never change. You see, I'm genetically a black person. So no matter how much creams I use, I still remain black. Yeah, I still remain black. But yet, with homosexuality, people change. People have changed. People have married and they have children. So it's not genetic. Homosexuality is a learned behavior. And whatever is learned can be unlearned. Sex can be unlearned. So that's the truth about it. The other way that they deceive the world or pass their agenda is focus on who they are rather than what they do. You see, the issue is what they're doing. You are a man, but you want to sleep with a man. You're a woman, and you want to sleep with a woman. That is a problem. So that is a moral problem. Yeah, it's a moral problem that you're just trying to sleep with somebody wrong. That is a problem. But you know what they come and say? That's not the problem. No. The problem is who I am. Now, listen to this. Who I am or who you are is not defined by what you are attracted to sexually.
it is defined by how you are born biologically. So, who you are is you're a man or you're a woman. That's who you are. It's not that now you should be identified by what you are sexually attracted to. That's rubbish. That's wrong. But you see now they get people, deceive people that who they are is defined by what they are attracted to sexually. That is wrong. So now they deceive people. So people will take it, oh yeah, you see, yeah, Freud is born like this. So those are some of the tactics. So because of that, homosexuality is not a human right. It is not because human rights are not just arbitrarily determined. I don't just wake up now, it's my right to X, Y. Human rights are given by God. It is God who gave us human rights. What rights are? And those rights descend from the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. So I have a right to life. I have a right, thou shalt not steal. So I have a right to property. I have a right to own this. I have a right. Even the government should not come and just, it's a right, I have a right to. Thou shalt not say false thing about it. You have a right to your good name. Right to your good name. Nobody should come and, this one, is doing this. You have a right to your good name. And so on and so forth. So you don't just wake up one morning, now homosexuality is a human right, and the human right, rubbish. It's rubbish. So this knowledge is very, very important. Now, there are two kinds of homosexuals. There's one group who, like thieves, like murderers, know that they're doing the wrong thing and are doing it quietly. They're not trying to draw an attention to themselves, just like thieves and so on. There's that group. But there's a second group who are activists. They either engage in those things and now advocate for it, or they're sympathizers. Now, that second group are the people who have actually made homosexuality become spread globally. The group of activists. Now, they have an agenda. And to summarize for you the agenda is this. One, the first thing they want is they want to create a new world with a new moral order where there's absolutely no restriction on sexual practice. Yeah? A new world. Anybody can sleep with anyone, anybody can. Number two, they want to overthrow the moral base of society, which is based on marriage and family. You know that marriage and family is what counts. Then you build your society, that you build your government, you build your army, you build your society on that bedrock of marriage and family. So for them, they want to come overthrow that and replace it with a society that is based on sexual anarchy. So they hate family. They hate marriage. And even if you see, but you also want marriage, the reason they want to gay marriage to also be allowed is so that they kill the real marriage. That's the idea. Bring this one also, so that now the two are competing, so in the process, kill real marriage. So it's not that they really need it and they really want it. I've done studies on it. Gay marriage is unsustainable. They can't even last a year. Not even a year. And those that manage to last a year, by the end of that year, they are not even sleeping with one another. They're not sleeping with one another. Because that is unsustainable. It's not sustainable the way a husband and wife. us, you know. I mean, I've been married 38 years. I'm going to be 39. But, you know, we attract, you know, to each other, so and the thing is sustainable. But there, by 1 year, it is unsustainable. So usually by that time now, they agree that okay, you can go for other people. I can also go for other people. And what is keeping them together at that time is probably just a social arrangement where maybe one depends financially on the other. So that's what keeps them socially. But bedroom-wise, it's finished. It's finished. It's unsustainable. I said, and yet they are pressing for it. Oh, we also want. Yeah, we also want. It's just to try and destroy real marriage and real family, because that's one of the agenda. Thirdly, total acceptance. They want total acceptance of homosexuality in every facet of society, including religion, education, military, business, marriage, adoption, name it. So, this is what they are after. Now, how do they take over nations? No, first of all, let's do why is homosexuality wrong? One, it's unnatural, defies nature and the created order, number one. Two, it's against the laws of Uganda. You know that. We have been working on that issue. We hope the president signs it soon. Three, it's against our culture as Ugandans. Four, it's against the laws of God. Fifthly, it provides easy transmission for diseases. Sixthly, it is against the family institution. You cannot have families thriving and homosexuality is also thriving. No. Either for families are thriving and homosexuality, or homosexuality is thriving and family is down. You can't, in other words, there is no coexistence. It is impossible. Let me say that again. It is impossible. You can't have light and darkness coexist. If the darkness is veiling, or when light comes, because of it's impossible. Now, you need to know how they take over nations. How do they take over nations? 8 strategies. Number 1, widespread pornography. Pornography, the engine behind it is the gay agenda. Hugh Hefner, who in 1953 or 54 there, was the first person to start Playboy magazine. Playboy magazine was the first pornographic magazine that was accepted by the Western world. Hugh Hefner was there. Hugh Hefner was a colleague of Alfred Kinsey. Alfred Kinsey was a man in 1948 who published a document that provides the philosophy for homosexuality. Now, Alfred Kinsey was a zoologist, dealing with insects and so on. But imagine that he was the one who brought, sexuality knowledge, which for 40 years informed sexuality in Western university. 40 years. Imagine a zoologist, somebody dealing with, not a doctor, but a zoologist. It was later found out that his research was fraudulent. It was later found out that he was homosexual, but was posing as a happily married family man. But he was actually homosexual, and he wanted to popularize homosexuality and to bring down the Western moral principles, Christian Western Muslim, which had kept the Western world for hundreds of years. He wanted to destroy it. So, Hugh Hefner was a colleague of his, and they used to joke around or to say that Alfred Kinsey provided the theory and Hugh Hefner the practice. The practice. And Hugh Hefner boasted in a radio broadcast where I was interviewed. He said, Jesus Christ brought spiritual freedom. I am bringing sexual freedom to the world. Now, for your information, in 1964 was the time that sex education was introduced into schools. 1964. Now, it wasn't really necessary. It wasn't necessary. Why? For 12 years, teenage pregnancies were reducing. Diseases among, reducing. Then, all of a sudden, 1964, they introduced sex education. And from there, you see the graph, I will show you. From there, teenage pregnancy, teenage motherhood, what have you, diseases, shot up. Now, the curriculum of sex education, which was instituted in 1964, was funded by Hugh Hefner. You imagine, the pornography industry, the pornography machinery is the one that funded sex education in schools. And the people who brought the content are people who worked under Hugh Hefner, the pornographer. And the people who worked in that industry at the beginning were interviewed. Why are you doing it? No, the idea was not on the surface, or to reduce teenage pregnancy, or to reduce diseases, or to reduce whatever. That's what they put on the surface. But actually, say, the real reason is so that children can be sexualized, so that they can actually have sex, and without any consequences. That was the idea. Because whoever promotes sex education must also bring the pills, must also bring contraceptives, must also bring, the condoms and so on. They go hand in hand. Why do they go hand in hand? If they're supposed to stop this, why do they go hand in hand? Those who are behind it know what they're doing. So we're going to stop this. We're going to stop teenage pregnancy. So children are getting pregnant. They tell us children are getting pregnant because they don't know, or they're ignorant, so they must be given information. Rubbish. Children are getting pregnant because families are broken. That's the problem. Parenting is broken. Well, of course, when families are broken, then parenting is broken. Yes. And once parenting is broken, how will that child survive? No matter what information you give that child, how will they survive? How will they survive? And that's the same argument they used then. They said, you see, parents are too busy now, all this. So now we need to do this. So, parents, you need to know today that you are the best person to help your child, and you're the best person who can parent your child through anything. God has given a parent the influence that can actually shape their children. Further, if a parent really takes their responsibility seriously, you can parent your child through literally anything. And I'll give you a biblical example. The biblical example is Lot. Lot parented his children in Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, tell me, what worst situation can beat Sodom and Gomorrah? But he parented his children, and the children turned out right. So once you can do your parental work, you will. Now, I want to close with what should you do, therefore, as parents? As parents, what should you do? As parents, we need to develop a vision for society which is based on strong marriages and families. Okay? Once families are strong, once marriages are strong, once parenting is strong, that's the medicine. That's the medicine. That can help your child through any situation. Even if they fall victims of these things, once you're parenting properly, you can parent your child through any situation, even if they've fallen victims of this vice. That parental support, that parental presence, that parental guidance can help a child through any situation. I've worked with some parents whose children have gone into homosexuality and lesbianism, and they've managed to go through it. They've managed to go through it. So your child may fall victim because you don't know where it may be found, especially since these people are really promoting this thing seriously. Hey, I left off, I was telling you how they take over nations, and I only did pornography. Yeah. Okay, number 2. Yeah, sorry, yeah, let's go back quickly. Yeah. Number 2. Occupy or control gatekeeping positions in the country. They come and scan a country and see which are the gatekeeping positions or institutions or offices. And they do their best either to occupy it, or if they can't occupy it, ring fence it. So that there's an officer there, but they've ring fenced it. They've ring fenced it. When the officer tries to make any decision that is contrary to order, they are around. If anybody is trying to bring information to the officer or to the institution, they are around. They are around. So you imagine or think of any gatekeeping institution or office you can imagine in our country here. I guarantee you, from the studies I've done, from what I know of this machinery, the game machinery, I've studied this thing and I know it. And that's the time I can even predict what they're going to do, I know. Just look around. They are there. They are there. Number 3. In conservative nations like Uganda, clandestinely promote homosexuality to children. Clandestine, another underground. It's not official, but underground. Underground. Use any means. And I've listed them, but I don't have the time. Including recruiting house girls or houseboys to introduce to children. Because one of the things that spreads homosexuality is sexual abuse of a child. There's a study I did and showed that 58% of those who are homosexuals in America were at first abused as children. So you're a 4-year-old or whatever old, somebody abuses them or someone introduces that to them, they grow up, they catch it. So they know it. They know it. So in conservation, do that. Underground. So that's why pictures, even cartoons. Have you seen cartoons? Yes, they're there. It's to children. Because the way you change a society is not with the adults. No, go for the children. Once the children's minds are changed, the game is over. Fourthly, do media campaign that homosexuality is innate or is born that way. Number 5, demand for legal recognition on the basis of human rights. That's where we are now. That's why the homosexual bill is, flipping and flopping like this. Why? Because human right is a right. It's not a right, but that's what they want. They say right. That's why you see that things that they're asking the president to do that. You reckon? You imagine. They want the president to put in our law that, okay, at least we're going to write that as long as somebody is just a homosexual, but is not practicing, leave them. Leave them. I mean, you imagine that. Can you say that somebody is a terrorist? Yeah. He's a terrorist, But as long as they don't do terrorism, yes. Do you see how that is? So, yeah. How can you separate? How can you separate? So that is the basis. And I'm telling you now that that's how they get into nation, and that's how they take over nation. And in so doing, all they want is a foothold. And the foothold, that is a human right. Once you accept that it's a human, that country is finished. Just that foothold alone, is a human right. Recognize that they also exist. Thieves also exist, for goodness sake. Murderers also exist. Rapists also exist. Now, should we also say, we recognize that murderers exist? Why this one? It is because they want that. Because now, once that is done, they need to recognize that automatically it presupposes that it is natural and it is inborn. Do you see the trap? Yeah, that's a trap. Just you accepting that they exist. Pass. Automatically. You haven't said it, but automatically it presupposes. Now from there, the battles for recognition, for rights, for associating, for registration, because we recognized that. You see, it's just a trap. And many countries have. Number 6, organize gay pride and demonstration. 7, change laws to accommodate homosexuality. 8, finally, begin legal battles for equality in institutions. All right, now let me end with, as parents, the only thing I'm going to leave with you, and I'm glad you have many other speakers and so on, they will improve or build your parent-child communication. That is your game changer. Parent-child communication, and I've only got 4 points. Number 1, be able to talk with your child. That means be able to have a conversation with your child. That is key. Don't just talk at you or talk down. Be able to hold a conversation. That conversation is very, very important, because conversation is a two-way. Number 2, be approachable. Be approachable. If you're the kind of person who you come to a child and the child runs away or whatever, change your ways. It's not the child to change. You, the parent, change your ways. Change your ways and, be approachable. Be approachable. Number 3, that leads to number 3. Listen to your children. That one, I don't know, I said 10 times. Listen to your children. No matter how little. Listen. Even if they're talking nonsense, listen. I meet many children who are abused in schools. So have you told your parents? They don't trust me. They don't listen to me. I met a girl in Gaza many, many years ago. I talking just part of the chapel then. He said, my parents don't listen to me. The way you are listening to me now, they don't listen to me. If I wasn't saved, I would just be sleeping with any man. Now, mark those words. She would be sleeping with any man. Not because she wants to sleep with men, but because in that way she will be passing a message to the parents. Now, you need to know the psyche of a child. If a child behaves and you don't acknowledge them or you don't affirm them, yet when they do something wrong, you react. Then in the psyche of a child, they rather do something wrong and you react than behave and you don't react. That is the cycle of a child. And at that time, they don't think of the danger that they are putting themselves in. They don't. So that's why, please listen to your children. And they know when you are listening, they know when you are not listening. Because when you, I remember one day when we were teaching, I didn't tell you, oh no, it was mentioned that we have a parenting course. When we were teaching about parent-child communication, one parent at the end said, oh, I wish I knew this. My daughter would not have got pregnant. Simply because he was a no-nonsense father. This one. So, the child was facing challenges and so on. There is nobody who compiled it. The next thing. Now, I didn't put that down here, but for those who are taking notes, write down. Be your child's adult ally. Be your child's adult ally. Why is that? Studies have been done, and no child can ever make it through the turbulent years of growing up without an adult ally. It is impossible. Every child needs an adult who they can say, oh, I'm thinking like this. What do you think? I'm beginning to feel this way. What do you think? My friends are telling me this. What do you say? Every child needs that. And you should be your child's adult ally. You should be the one. And when you are, you will catch these things very early. And now, this boy is beginning to, oh, now my friends are beginning. You will catch it early. And you save your child. But if you are not your child's ally, and these allies are just peers, or the wrong people, your child is failed. So from here, go back, change your ways, be your child's ally. Because you catch this early. Oh, now, daddy, this one is trying to tell me this. Oh, mommy, my friends are saying this, or are beginning to, so and so touched me this way. So you need to hear that. But if you're the kind of parents, hey, what? Now you begin bad manners. I tell you, your child is going to be finished. Yes. Yeah. So you have a big fuse. Have a big fuse. Even if they tell you things, don't be shocked. Oh, just be, oh. Inside you are trembling. But you're, oh, yeah. And let them know that they can always come and ask you. They can always come. There you will have helped your child. Let them know that they can always come and ask you, they can always come and check with you. That is very, very, very good. Next point is that make time for every child on a one-on-one with you. Every child, one-on-one. Yes. Not this Kayola where, okay, we are going to the beach, we are going to the what? Yes, there's time for that. But, yeah, have one-on-one. Because every child is different, and you need to know each child personally, who they are, their temperaments, their strengths, their weaknesses. Then you parent according to each child. This one is a bit this one I need to apply this more. This one, so that time with each child individually, and that's when you will hear even some of the things. Oh, so and so is trying to do this. Oh, my friends to do this. Very, very important. Finally. Fight for your children, fight for your family, fight for our nation. And this one I'm quoting Nehemiah chapter 4 verse 14. Nehemiah 4:14 begins by saying, don't be afraid of them. Now, the circumstance was now Nehemiah had come to rebuild the wall, Jerusalem. And he found many challenges, very, very challenges. Enemies, what, mockers, he found all that. So the first he told this way, don't be afraid of them. Then he continues, remember the Lord who is great and awesome, and fight for your families, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your homes. Let me read that again. Remember the Lord who is great and awesome, and fight for your families, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your homes. Men, fathers, we have to fight. There is a time to fight. This is the time to fight. Yes, this is the time to fight. For our children, for our country, for our... This one is a noble fight. But remember two things. Part one, don't be afraid of them. Yes. Those who are pushing this agenda are big. Are big. I didn't have time, but I wanted to quote for you something from one of the embassies here, from their website, who are offering small grants. There's such an embassy is offering small grant office and announces open competition for organizations interested in submitting applications for projects that promote and protect LGBT rights in Uganda. Yes, in Uganda. This is the website. I don't tell lies. Now, it's a bit long, but look at the end bit of it here. The Small Grants Office will particularly consider grant proposals that increase the visibility of LGBT individuals, promote awareness and evidence-based education, with a particular focus on young people, and engage directly with the key religious organizations. Yeah, I got this from the website here. U.S. Embassy. U.S. Embassy. Yeah. U.S. Embassy. Can you imagine? So yeah, here, you smile with them here, but U.S. Embassy. That's why. Fight for your families, fight for your children, fight for your daughters, sons, and daughters, our wives, our nation. This is a good fight. This is a good fight. So, with those words, I want to say that we should not fear how big the enemy is. We should not fear. And fear is one of the things that Satan uses to paralyze efforts. Brings fear, then, but the Bible tells, don't be afraid of them. Be afraid of them. Because then remember the Lord. Because we are not just going on our own. We have the Lord. And we are handling a matter where the Lord has made his way and his will clear. So, with this information, if your child is having a challenge, you teachers, you are there, any child can be helped to go through this situation and become a person. I'm sorry I've taken too much time or longer. I want to say with those words, act now before it is too late, and may God bless you very much.